Hello, everybody. It's me, producer Ross, and welcome to another edition of the Monday Recap. And as always, I'm joined by good old Liam from Crew as we run up the weekend's action and look forward to the weekend. Plus, take a look at news stories that we may have missed. So, Liam, Town recorded their first win of 2021. I badly need a haircut, as you can see. Let's go and take a look at the weekend's action. So, Liam, Town just about beat Burton Albion 1-0 thanks to a Mark McGuinness goal, his first senior goal in football. It wasn't a good watch, was it? Your verdict on the win. 3 points is a positive, but the rest of the game, oh dear.
Well, I'm a bit peeved, really, because I predicted a dull 0-0 in the extra time, and I almost got it. And so I've missed out on full points. But being obviously a bit more serious, was a good result. Needed to happen. But that's all you can say. It was a good result. There was nothing else. And I'm not really going to go into anything because it's the same. I sound like a broken record every Monday, just saying the same old thing. So really, there's nothing really to say about it. They got the win, but it was far from convincing. But what I want to know is Stuart Taylor, and I've read the report after the game of him being interviewed, and he's coming out and using words like, "I thought the boys played really well," and Lambert has been doing this all the way through his tenure, and I'm just wanting to know what is it that they actually have set the boys to do, the team to do? What is it their targets are? What are those targets? Because clearly they must be really low to be being given praise every time and being met. It would just be nice for them to come out and say what they actually expect from the boys so that we can then be a little bit maybe less judgmental. But it wasn't good. But, I mean, in isolation, it was a poor pitch. And sometimes you have these games where it's just a matter of go out and get a win. But at the end of the day, there's going to be another kind of mitigating factor that the majority of the players who have come back to create our strongest first 11, which we're pretty much back at now, are still some way short of match fitness. So you can Lambert has an out on that. You can say, well, they weren't properly fit, but we got the result. But it doesn't fill you with any confidence that anything is going to change and that the performances are going to improve, even with the players coming back. And that's the problem. We've played 2 games against Burton now, and we've beaten them by a single goal on each occasion, when other teams have put lots past them. And I know Hasselbank made them a lot more defensive-minded and more tight at the back. But let's be honest, they look more likely to score than we did in the game. Chambers had that block just before half-time, and then they had the one just after Town had scored into the last 10 minutes where the ball got pulled back and the guy was completely free and he's leant back and hammered it over the bar when a bit more composure and he had time to pick his spot. We didn't create anything other than the goal. And that's going to remain. And I just, it is what it is. We get the 3 points, but if I start using the word momentum, there is none. It might be a momentum in the result, but the whole thing is based on a house of cards at the moment. And you can see every time that it just takes one little tremor and the whole thing will come crashing down. And it'll happen.
Definitely. And, well, it's a big game this weekend as we take on Peterborough at Portman Road. The last time we took on Peterborough, of course, we lost 4-1, and that was a terrible night at Portman Road. Of course, fans were on the ground for that one. And Peterborough, they're doing the same old story. They got rid of one of their strikers. They brought in another striker, and he's currently top goal scorer. Town, of course, was linked with Johnson Clark Harris. They're currently sitting 5th. They beat, well, I thought they'd be their promotion rival in a way, but MK Dons, they beat them 3-0 at home. They then drew with Lincoln prior to that one. But this is going to be a very tough game, and you know, I'm worried. Really, are you?
Yeah. I don't think they're as fluent as they were last season, so I'm not sure it's going to be another 4-1. But the fact is, we've had the evidence in front of us already. We've had 2 games back to back where we played Charlton and Hull, and in both games we got beaten by 3, and I think it was 2-0. And although the score lines, I mean, the 3-0 is a lot worse than a 2-0 by 1 extra goal, but it's not just the result, it's the manner of the result. And the fact that Hull and Charlton were so comfortable in the game and had so much room to score more. But, I mean, they could have packed up after the hour mark and just said, look, if you want to call it a day now, we'll take the points and go home. I mean, that's how comfortable it was. And that's the worry I've got, that they'll come out against Peterborough. They'll be competitive to begin with without really having any punch. And then as soon as Peterborough get the first goal, and that's the likelihood of happening, you're just never confident that Town are going to turn around these matches. And if Town are going to get a result, they have to hit the front. And for me, they just don't look like they're going to score goals. And that's been the problem throughout the whole season. They don't look like scoring goals. And I just don't see where we're going to get close to them. And I said back in October, November time, when we played that double header against Hull and Charlton, I said, this is a crucial week for Town to make a statement, to beat a big side. Well, this is another, okay, we haven't got a game this midweek, but next midweek, and obviously mention it next week more in depth in the Sunderland game, we've got Sunderland and Peterborough back to back. That is not just a crucial week, that is a defining week, because we're now in a stage where, okay, we're only 4 points behind Hull in second, but we are behind the 8 ball and we are now chasing. And if we carry on losing points and not making big dents in teams that are in and around us, then we're not going to catch and get into those playoffs. So at the end of the day, this is going to be a massive week, and it is sink or swim. That's it. It is sink or swim. And putting pressure on it, you may now start to see that we're going to have to get maybe 4 points at least out of those 2 matches. And do you feel confident that that's going to happen? No chance. If Town come out of this without at least winning one of those games, I think they have to be unbeaten. And these games, it's the wrong time for them to come. But I don't see it at all. We have to win, but I can only see the best result being a draw. And even that, probably at this stage now, is not good enough.
So well said there, Liam. And let's get into the news that happened over the weekend. And one man that could be out of the door at Town is good old Donacien, a player that is pretty much a forgotten man, hasn't played a single minute of league football, has played in the Cups, but Lambert's not a big fan of him. And he's been linked over the weekend to Plymouth. He's also been linked to loan moves to Colchester, Accrington, and he's been pretty much been put out on loan. What's your take on this? A lot of people would actually rather see him playing at right back and then Chambers moving to centre half, but it looks like Lambert's not going to do that, and Genoy probably will not be a Town player until, well, not anymore.
I just think this is just the most. I was astounded when I saw the article. I just don't get it. It's just, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what my thoughts are on Donacien, but my personal thoughts are, I think that he's been not given much of a chance, been underused. He's a steady player. He's not going to be someone who's going to completely wow you, but he's never let anybody down when he has played. Useful squad member, but someone who has gone nowhere near to being used by Paul Lambert since he's come into the club. And so at that point, he is over 21. He is taking up a position in the squad under the salary cap rules. Then what's the point? If you're not going to use him, you may as well get rid of him permanently to get more room for someone to come in.
Well, there we go then. Well, as always, Liam, thank you for joining me and everybody watching. This is another edition of the Monday Recap. Let us know in the comments down below your feelings going into the Peterborough game, and also about Janoi. Poor Janoi. I've always been a big fan of him. It looks like his time at town is pretty much up. But yes, that is the end of the video. Thank you all for watching.